Hi Detroit Prep second grade artists, it's Miss Jillian here. This is the directional video for week 2 of our Detroit Prep Architecture Portraits project. This week we're going to be focusing on art skills practice. This is going to be important going forward because our skills that we're practicing today will be skills that we use on both our second and our final draft. For this week you'll need your skill sheets. There was a packet left on Friday for you that had all of the skill sheets inside of it. If you were unable to pick it up, that's totally okay. I'll link in a printable copy if you need one. The second thing you're going to need is a number 2 pencil and eraser. The third thing you'll need is a coloring tool of your choice. You could use markers, you could use colored pencils, you could use crayons. You could also use paints on one specific skill set, and we'll talk about that when we get there. Another optional material is a whiteboard with a dry erase marker and a whiteboard eraser. Those would be helpful if you wanted to practice any of the trickier skills on your whiteboard before doing them on your paper. Our steps this week, there are 5. Once you've checked off in your mind all 5 steps, that means you're done for this week. We're going to do the first 2 steps together, and you can do step 3, step 4, and step 5 independently on your own. You can ask for help from a grown-up in your family or from a sibling if you need. Step 1 is to watch the slide directional video. You're doing that right now. Once you're finished watching the whole thing, you can check that box off. You know that you're done with that. Great. The next step we're going to do together is to review our learning targets on the next slide. So you can also check off that box in your brain. Let's go ahead and do that now. Before we go on to our learning target, this is a suggested schedule for this week. There are 4 skills to practice. Again, if this doesn't work for your family, that's okay. You can do these whenever you need to, as long as they're completed by Friday. But because we have 4 skills, my suggestion is to do 1 skill sheet on Monday, 1 on Tuesday, 1 on Wednesday, 1 on Thursday, and then if you need time to finish everything up and send in pictures on Friday. Please do whatever works best for you, but this kind of helps to pace it out a little bit without feeling overwhelmed with artwork. This is where the directional slide video is going to be, so if you're watching this, you probably know that. I am making the slide video right now, so I haven't been able to plug it in yet, but you're already done with this step. Congratulations. Let's go over our learning targets together. There are 3 this week. The first one is, and you can repeat after me, I can analyze different illustrations and describe how the artist drew buildings. Great, let's go on to the second learning target right here. I can practice my drawing skills by using step-by-step drawing guides. This will help me to draw these things on my own later. Awesome. One more, friends. You got this. I can complete all 4 of my skill sheets as best I can. Great, you're done with step 2. The first thing that we need to do is we need to watch the video of artist Faith Ringgold reading her book, Tar Beach. The video is right here. After you're done watching this video, you can click on it to listen to her read. While you're watching, what do you notice about the way she drew her buildings? How does that connect to your DP architecture project? Architecture portrait, excuse me. So keep that in your brain while you're watching and analyzing her illustrations. That's how we'll meet our first learning target. I'm going to go to the next slide this way because otherwise it will automatically play. So we're practicing art skills this week, and we're practicing them because it's important to draw complex images using shapes and other elements of art, and to use drawing guides as a reference. These are really great skills that we can apply to our second draft and our final draft, as well as any other future art projects. Once we know how to do these things and draw these things step by step, it will come more naturally to us, which means we'll be able to make more complex and visually interesting images. All right, skill sheets. The first thing that we're going to work on is I can't draw buildings until I practice. So this is just introducing the skill sheet. And you can see all the different kinds of buildings, all of the different ways that they're drawn with all kinds of cool texture. And before I go on to the next slide, I just want to remind you that this is all for practice. So please, please, please try to keep that in mind if something is frustrating or challenging. We're just doing the best we can. The reason that we practice skills is so that we can get better at them and grow. Even the best artist in the world needs to practice and think and take many pictures or draw many drafts of whatever it is they're working on before it gets to be high quality. For our first skill sheet, you'll choose one of these directional draw-alongs. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we also have a video, so 5. There are 5 different draw-along options. You can either follow each of the steps in each of the boxes to draw any of these final examples. There is a skill sheet with a grid in it in case you choose this one. So you can choose any of those 5 examples. If you want to do more than one, you're totally welcome to, but you only need to choose one, and you're going to draw that on your skill sheet. So whichever of the 5 that you choose to do, you're going to draw on your skill sheet. The last one is a video. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to find a really great directional drawing video of a school building. So the closest one I could find is this drawing of the White House. So it is important to notice the shapes and all of the details that they added while they were drawing. You don't have to include the flag if you don't want to. It's not a part of what we're focused on. We're really just focusing on drawing buildings because that is what we are going to be doing for our second and final draft. Again, I'm going to go to our next slide, to our skills sheet. I can't mix colors until I practice. We're going to be using watercolor paint if it's available. If it's not, it's okay. But we're still going to practice our color mixing so that we're ready when we do. You have several color mixing sheets. They all look like this. Each of the circles is labeled with a color. Use markers. If you don't have markers, try your best with crayons or colored pencils. If you do have watercolor paints or any other kind of paint, and you have the colors available, you can use your paints on this one. Your job is to fill in each circle with the color that it's labeled underneath. So if the circle is labeled red, you should color the whole thing in red. Then if the circle is labeled yellow, you should color the whole thing in yellow. Now, we are adding these 2 colors together. So in the final circle, you'd paint it in using both yellow and red, or color it with marker. It's really important though when we're mixing colors or layering colors in the circle over here to always start with the lightest color, especially if we're using marker. If we started with red first and then colored over it with yellow, the yellow would pick up the red ink and it would turn the marker to the color that you get when you mix red and yellow together. because red is darker than yellow, you can color over the yellow without the red marker picking up the yellow ink. So always start out with the lighter color first. So color in with a layer of the lighter color first. Yellow is lighter than red, red is lighter than blue, and red is lighter than green. At the bottom, please write in which two colors, when you mix them together, make brown. That's important to keep in your brain. There are 3 or 4 of these color mixing sheets to do. There's one for each of the primary colors, so there's red, yellow, and blue, and then there's actually one for each of the secondary colors, so there's actually 6. Do as many of these as you can. Just do your very best. The next thing that we're going to practice is drawing texture. So on your skill sheet, I'm going to scroll down. You have a school building that looks like this. Your job is to draw a brick texture on your school building. And this is a close-up of the Detroit Prep building, so you can see the texture that's on the side of our building. Just do the best you can. This video right here is a refresher on what texture is. This is a video that shows you how to do a specific project. You don't have to do the project in this video. It's just a great reminder and refresher on what texture is. Here are additional drawing guides and visual guides for you to look at while you're drawing your brick texture if you're having a hard time. If you feel like you got a handle on it, you don't need to use these. It's up to you. The last thing that we want to do is we want to take all of the skills that we just learned and draw a complex building. So the basis of this art project is an art project in which they draw Notre Dame, and I showed you that example in the first slide way back last week. So today, for practice, we are going to look at these images of Notre Dame. It's a Gothic cathedral in Europe. And while you're looking at them, do your very best to draw Notre Dame. It will be challenging, and it's okay if it's not perfect. If you can draw Notre Dame, you can 100% draw Detroit Prep. Detroit Prep is not as challenging to draw as Notre Dame. So if you do a really good job at drawing Notre Dame, you will be A-okay when it comes to second draft time and final draft time. When you're done with Notre Dame, if you'd like to color it in, you may, but we're not going to be coloring in our second or final draft, so you don't have to color it in if you don't want to. Okay, the last thing that you'll need to do is when you've completed all of your skill sheets, you'll have to take a photo or a high quality scan of each, then turn them into Google Classroom. They will be graded on if they are complete or not, which means I do need to see pictures of each piece. Otherwise, I won't know if they're done. You have an optional art project this week, which you can also complete if you would like. This is optional. You don't have to do it, but I thought it'd be like a fun thing to do after so much rigorous, hard drawing skill practice. This is how to draw a treehouse. You are welcome to do this. If you would like to take a picture of it, you can email it to me, or you can turn it in with the rest of your skill sheet practice sheets. Oopsies. It's automatically playing. Great. All right, guys, that's it for this week. If you have any questions, please reach out. There are many ways to reach me. The best way to reach me is via email or Remind. And once you hit this page, please stop. That means you're done with the slides for this week. Next week's slides are for next week. And this is just another checklist to make sure that everything is turned in so that you are ready to go for our second drafts, which we'll get started on next time. All right, guys, I'm excited to see your practice sheets, and I'm excited to see you for second drafts next time. Bye, guys. Have a good one.